Hi everyone, welcome to episode 84 of the XS Noize Podcast. I'm Mark Millar. Thanks for listening. In this episode, I talked to Gary Strainer from Glastonbury rockers Reef. If you missed the previous episode, I spoke to former Kasabian frontman Tom Main about his comeback tour, brand new music, mental health awareness and lots more.
It's been an incredible feeling. I've got all these emotions coming back and all these feelings that disappeared, and they're all coming back, and it's been incredible because, you know, I've been away for a long time, and it's been spectacular. And the fans, the love, the appreciation, I'm so humble. It's just overwhelming, really. The gigs have been absolutely outrageous. I mean, wow. Fuck me, geez, yeah. I mean, I feel like I am rising again. You know, I can feel it. I think everyone else can feel it. It's just great to be back on where I belong, mate.
So check it out. And if you like the podcast, please subscribe and share it with your friends. If you want up-to-date music news, album reviews and interviews, then check out our main website at xsnoize.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Search for the tag at XS Noize Music. Here's XS Noize writer Daniel Lynch with a taste of what's been on the website this week.
There's new music on the site this week from Afghan Wigs, who return with their first album in 5 years. Kula Shaker have released a new single and video ahead of their new album, and we have an exclusive track premiere from Mumu and new music from R&B artist Monjola. In the review section, Belle and Sebastian return with their 10th studio album, A Bit of Previous. Imelda Heher gives the album 7 out of 10, saying one of its key themes is ageing, and the band renews its focus on beauty in the ordinary. Laurie Gava says Catherine Joseph examines the damage humans can do to each other on her new album For You Who Are the Wronged. Laurie says the Scottish artist dazzles with her straightforward approach, as the album's sparse sonic canvas allows the listener to focus on the lyrics. 8 out of 10. You can read all the reviews and listen to all the new music on xsnoize.com.
Reef's new album, Shoot Me a Race, showcases their talents in one of the most thrilling rock albums of recent years. From the title track's swaggering opening salvo to rollercoaster closer, Strangelove, Shoot Me a Race is a thrilling blast of rock and roll joy. In this interview, Gary Strainer talks about the album, working with Andy Taylor, live shows and lots more. So sit back, relax and enjoy the XS Noize Podcast with Gary Strainer. Hi Gary, welcome to the XS Noize Podcast.
Hey, how's it going, Mark? Hello everybody.
Great to be speaking to you. At the time of talking, Reef will soon release your new album, Shoot Me a Race, which is fantastic. Very, very heavy. Did you go into the recording of the album with any preconceived sounds about how you wanted it to sound and the kind of songs you wanted to write about?
No, not really. It was, it all, I'm sure every bugger says this, but it was all very organic. Very natural. I had sung a song with a band called Skin Dread, a song called Machine. I did a duo with Benji. I took it in turns singing lines on that song. Great song. Really loved that experience. And, and our management had been working with Andy Taylor, who played guitar in Duran Duran, the pop band Duran Duran and Power Station and whatnot. And he'd heard that vocal and liked what I did, and I had a phone call inviting me to go out to Ibiza to sing on some songs that he was recording. So I went out and I sung 2 or 3 songs, and I came home and it was exciting and the songs were great. You know, he's obviously a very clever songwriter. Yeah. And then I got another call a couple of weeks later, could you come out and sing some more? And so he played me some more songs. It was nice. You'd wake up and, you know, have eggs in the morning and listen to the song you were going to sing and then go in and sing it in the afternoon. And it was a real nice time. And Andy turned up in England the following summer, and, you know, I said to him, well, why don't you come down, come and play a show? And we were doing Glastonbury Festival, and he came and just had a jam with us on stage. Did 2 or 3 songs with us at Glastonbury. And that was exciting. That was really good fun. And then that turned into, well, why don't you come down to the lockup? We've got a lockup in Somerset where we keep all our gear and write and record. And he came down, and I think he'd maybe been out in Ibiza on his own, for a while, away from the music scene maybe. And he came in and, we'd drink a coffee in the morning and play until 6 or 7 at night, and his fingers would be hurting, and we'd have great fun rocking out. It was a band vibe, jamming, and it wasn't long before we started structuring the jams and writing songs. And I think we were about to start making a new record anyway. The Reef boys, we'd already written a song called Refugee, which is on the new record, and an acoustic ballad called Don't Look Back we'd written with George Draculius, the producer of the previous record Revelation and Glow and whatnot. But with Andy, it just happened so quickly, and it was so easy to make music with him, that after sort of 6 or 7 months, Andy booked out a studio in Baltic in East London. And we worked out that we probably had 12 songs, maybe actually we probably had 14. We binned a couple and had 12 sort of top of our list. And we went in on the Saturday and ended up recording like 6 songs in one day. And, it's fairly rare to do that as a musician. We thought we'd maybe do 3 or 4 songs over the weekend. So we came back in on the Sunday and we did the same again. We cut another 6 songs. So we had 12 songs altogether. And it just happened so quickly. I mean, every bit of drum and bass, totally live. 90% of the guitar is live, overdubbed a few solos. I've probably re-sang 3 or 4, 5 songs on the album. But, the guts of that record was done in a weekend, and it really feels the energy and the momentum is there when you listen to it, because for all of its quick, birth, its quick recording, we were shut down that weekend when we came back home in March. It was all shut down. So we've been sat on that record for 18 months. And whenever you played it, to look at the sequencing or check the mastering or just to have a listen, it sounded so exciting. It as a musician, it's very rare when you listen back to your music that, a body of work, an album, of 10, 12, 9, 13 songs, whatever, sounds exciting when you listen to it back. It's like, oh my God, this is something really special. And yeah, Shoot Me Your Ace has surpassed every expectation. It was so quick and easy to make and write. And I really, want to share it with as many people as possible. Just because it's such an exciting rock and roll record. So no, we had no preconceptions. Mm-hmm. I think working with a second guitarist, because Andy was in the room with us playing. I mean, he produced the record too, but was playing with us live, writing the songs with us. Having 2 guitars, lent it towards more of a rock and roll record. There was none of the, we didn't really have very much space for keyboards or pianos, which we'd done on Revelation, the last record, and there was certainly no gospel choir, and which we've touched on before, R&B. It was straight rock and roll record, and the 2 songs that were ballady, there was a soul ballad and an acoustic ballad, and we just cut them from the record and kept it 10 solid gold rock and roll songs.
I read that Andy Taylor believes that Shoot Me Your Ace is one of the 3 defining albums of his entire career. I mean, that's an amazing honour for him to say that, considering some of the records he's been involved in.
I'm blown away by that too. But then I'm also not surprised because I've heard the record. I don't want to come across as being big-headed. It's fucking ace. If you like rock and roll music, you're going to get a big stoke from listening to this record. The way it was recorded, the way it was performed, the way it was written, it's fairly old school, and there's an energy in it. Bang, we're on to the next song. You can hear at the end of this a couple of tunes, Strangelove being one of them, where we're jamming out the ending, and it's all live, it's all there in the room. It's working off each other, it's listening to each other, and there's a lot of high octane rock and roll on there. There's big guitars tuned down to G with a Stonesy feel. There's all sorts on there. If you like rock and roll, it covers a lot of areas. And I'm stoked he said that. And he believes that is absolutely epic. And without sounding like a big-headed tosser, I'm not surprised. It's a good record. I'm really, really happy with it.
Is Andy in the band full time now?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he came and played we had, what did we have? Yeah, a good couple of years sort of seeing a lot of Andy, and he's gone off and he's doing his own thing now. We toured with him last summer. So, if you think where we were when this April, we're April 2022 now. So this time last year, we were still locked down, weren't we? Mm-hmm. And we didn't know whether we'd do any shows during the summer. And we probably had, 12 or 13 come in, and it was probably 10 or 11 more than I thought we'd do. And he came out with us to every single one of them and played. And that was really good fun. It was great. I mean, we opened with Shoot Me Your Ace, the title track of the album. We were opening with that last summer at Carfest. You got this wonderful, fabulous, car event with families and, raising money for children in need, fabulous event run by Chris Evans. And we're blasting out Shoot Me Your Ace, first song. And they're rocking out. They're getting into it straight away. I remember before we started, I thought, oh no, what have I done? You look at the crowd and you're like, what are you doing? This is like a family event. And then we blasted them with the rock and roll and they loved it. And I thought, this song is immediate. People connect with it. They haven't heard it before. And that's when you've got a good one, is when you play songs that people don't know and they love it. Songs that people don't know and they go to the bar or, they start talking amongst themselves or whatever, then you think that one's not quite right. But when you play a song that everyone connects to and starts boogieing or headbanging, you think, this is a winner.
Yeah, it's such a powerful song, and it's a great way to kick off the album. And the song's accompanied by a Death to Fan video shot in the middle of a motorcycle stunt show, like Wall of Death. How was that there, filming that video? Was it scary being in the middle?
That's, was it scary? Well, at first, maybe. I mean, that was Jack's idea. We bumped into the Demon Drone crew a couple of times because they're a touring act as well, like we are. And, you bump into them at the odd event here and there. And, they were sat at home just like we were sat at home, for lockdown. And, when there was an opportunity for it legally to happen, Jack said, let's get up to their space and perform with the Demon Drum. I mean, the original idea was that we were going to set up somewhere and they were going to perform, and we were going to mix the footage. And I remember saying, let's see if we can set up in the middle of the drone, in the middle of the Wall of Death. So we did that, and the noise, Mark, was incredible, and the smell, the petrol, and at first you're thinking, this could go very wrong very quickly. But by the time the song had started and you're concentrating on the camera, not that you forgot that there was a motorcycle roaring around your head, but you kind of concentrated on what you were doing. So by the time the 3 minutes was up, you were like, oh, and these guys are super skillful, super skillful. And it was such an exciting day and such a exciting video, and hats off to Jacko for the idea. And, it was a brilliant way to launch the record.
Yeah, there's so many great songs on the album, but my favourite song on the album is the 6-minute epic long Strangelove. It's a great way to finish the album. What can you tell me about that song?
Well, that is the song that is tuned down to G. So if you like your deep, heavy, riff, that's there. And it is quite Stones in. It's got that sort of Stonesy opening riff, and then into maybe more of a Sabbathy, groove on the chorus. And that song is exciting in the way that we jammed out the ending, like I mentioned earlier. All of that vocal is totally live there. And I'm imagining there, with the songs being so spectacular, like the musical performances, I wanted to write lyric that was, super powered, not supernatural, so maybe supernatural, but like comic book, graphic novel vibes. So I'm imagining, like the attack of the 40-foot woman, or, so I mean, there was a song that we dropped that was, all about like swamp monsters. And, I was getting lost in, and warping and twisting reality, certainly for a lot of the lyric. I mean, there's a lot of love and sex and excitement and law breaking and alcohol on the record. But, with Strangelove, I'm imagining being under the spell of a larger than life goddess who's got flames for her hair. And it's just fun, and when we perform that song, and when I listen back to it, it's the same as Wolfman. They're pushing the boundaries of sense and reason, and it's like, if it doesn't make you smile, then maybe you should check your pulse, because it's tongue in cheek to a degree, and it's just fun. It's rock and roll, and there's definitely an element of super powered, graphic novel pulp fun in there, and I hope that people get that.
The band are also joined by new drummer Luke Bullen, formerly of Brian Ferry's band. How has Luke settled in?
He's absolutely world class, and I think it's one of the things that it's no surprise that having someone like Luke on drums. I mean, he's played with Joe Strummer and Katie Tunstall, and he is world class. And I'm the global world of drumming. He's right up there, and we were looking for a drummer for a while, and we were jamming with a few people, and they were great. But they when you played with Luke, it's just spectacular. I mean, you're not going to believe this, Mark, but the weekend that we went down to Baltic, we actually met Luke for the first time on the Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Now, Jesse knew him. Jesse had bumped into him in a hotel in London and had got him to come down and try out for the demos, which was the Wednesday, Thursday. So we actually cut 6 demo tracks on the Wednesday in our studio in Somerset. We cut 6 more on the Thursday. It's the first time Luke's ever heard these songs, by the way. We travelled to London on the Friday, and then we cut 6 songs for Rio on the Saturday, 6 songs for Rio on the Sunday, and the result is the album Shoot Me Your Ace. So when you've got the caliber of Luke Bullen on the drums, Jack Besant on the bass, who didn't overdub a single bass note. I think he stole some bass feedback from an earlier take of one song, but he never overdubbed a single piece of bass. It's all totally live with the drums. Jesse Wood's style of playing, the Steve Cropper rhythm that he can get, that almost becomes part of the rhythm section of the band. I mean, if you listen to the full version of Best of Me on the album, that middle 8 section, again, totally live, all the vocal, the bass, the guitar, everything's live. And the rhythm of it is just beautiful, even if I say so myself. That's what we're dealing with. And you throw in Andy Taylor into the mix, who can shred and is as love with AC/DC as I am. It's and it gets recorded well. That's potent.
Yeah, the album's it's a real assault of the senses. What song on the album do you feel most connected to?
Not trying to blow your trumpet, but I would say Strangelove as well. Mm-hmm. My favorite Reef song for ages has been a song off the 5th record we made, which became our greatest hits, which is called an album called Together, which a lot of fans don't really count as an album. Quite often, critics don't count that as an album. We did 4 albums, Replenish, Glow, Rides, Getaway. And then we went to go and make this 5th record together. And we started recording and we got up to Christmas and we'd done 5 or 6 or 7 songs, whatever it was, in LA. And when we got back from LA, Dom, the original drummer, left. So we had these 5 or 6 songs recorded. And anyway, the label said, look, we'll put your top, we had, 9 top 40 singles, put them on with it, blah, blah, blah. We had a record. So that was the album was called Together. And there's a song on there called Stone For We All Love. And we play it live still today. And that was one of my favorite songs forever by Reef. I just love still now playing it. But I think Strangelove has maybe topped that for me. And just the magic of it. It's just exciting. And it's got so many different styles of rock and roll in it. And I love the lyric, the idea of this flame-haired goddess whose brother is a titan, he's got shoulders like a bison and shovels, for his hands. So you better be careful. It's just fun. It's just fun to perform, and I'm really glad that we have recorded it.
Recently, I was talking to Simon and Oscar from Motion Colour Scene, who Reef have something in common with, in that your songs were both played every week on Chris Evans' TFI Friday show in the late 90s.
Yeah.
It was the track Place Your Hands, which was played in the It's Your Letter section, which was absolutely fantastic. How did that feel? Did it become annoying after a while? Just every week that was being played, or was it good?
No, it was absolutely belting. It's funny that there is a story going around that we were annoyed by that, and I have no idea where that came from. I mean, not only did Chris Evans help break that song, on BBC Radio, with TFI, he pushed it into the stratosphere, man. It's Your Letters. Don't forget, and I'm sure Oscar and Simon would tell you this, if you went on TFI to play your latest single, you would have to do an It's Your Letters jingle of the chorus. It didn't matter if you were Oasis, Foo Fighters, Natalie and Bruley. It doesn't matter who you were. You did that, Now, it just happened to be the fact that maybe the number of syllables in, put your hands on is, maybe because it's the same as It's Your Letter. I don't know. It just worked, and our one stuck. And so, yeah, you had the Ocean Colour Scene tune, Walk On, and then It's Your Letters was featured. And, that song still sells like 1,300 copies a week, man. It's a bonkers successful song. And, I wish I had more like that, not less.
Why do you think it's just become such a staple?
Who knows how this, weird sorcery works? I won't pretend to be a musical genius and know these ins and outs. I know there are people that, know the rules and regs of music, of what buttons to press and what words to put with them. I'm not that guy. I sing from the heart. When I write, I write from the heart. In a way, I like the idea of writing songs in a different way. But, most of my songs and the singing that I do is from the heart and an expression of how I'm feeling or what I'm imagining, and the melodies, with the music that the boys or the people around me have written. I'm not that clever. Maybe if I was, I'd have had more hits than I have. But for me, it's I don't know is the answer. I often get asked, did you know it was a hit? And I didn't. I didn't know it was a hit. But I can also remember seeing George Draculius, who produced it, getting excited about it. And I could also see Muff Winwood, who signed us at S2 with Lincoln Elias, and, produced Dire Straits, and played in the Spencer Davis group, was the bass player for them, wrote huge songs like, Give Me Some Lovin'. And he was very excited about it. And so even as a young teenager or early 20s guy, you can see other people who've been in the business longer than you getting excited about a tune. You think, maybe there's something in this.
Well, my favourite Reef track, as much as I love Place Your Hands, my favourite Reef track from back in the day is Come Back Brighter. I also love the video of the band on the moon. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah, man, that was fun shooting that. I mean, it's bonkers. I just did a TV interview the other week talking about the 90s. And, that video, for example, that video, the moon video, probably would have cost, $100,000, $120,000. The Place Your Hands video cost £250,000.
Wow.
It's the money is just, it was such a great time to be involved in music, and now, if you spent $7, I think, Shoot Your Ace maybe cost us $7,000 to make, maybe 10 tops, so, the budgets have shrunk in music for sure. Because not so many people buy physical and stream, and the money is not so good in streaming. But it was a fab time to be making music and to be able to spend that sort of budget. I mean, it always used to bore me to tears when you'd sit with the director and he'd say, "I've got this vision for your, okay, you do your job. I'll turn up and sing and toss my hair around." But you used to have a meeting. Just another excuse to spend some of Sony's money. You go and meet in a flash restaurant and get hammered and eat, a steak or whatever. And the director would tell you how he was meaning this by that. And you, okay, cool. We'll see you when we'll see you on set.
Well, Reef are halfway through your tour at the minute. How have the new songs been going down with the fans?
Really good. I mean, we're not playing the whole album, and if anyone's listening, for the price of a couple of cups of coffee, it's got to be worth stab of getting some new music into your life. But yeah, they've been going great. We're doing about 3 or 4 new ones a night. We've done all of the singles that we've released. So Shoot Me Your Ace, which is also the title, track, the name of the album. We play that. We're still opening with that because it just works. And then we're doing Wolfman and Right On, which is the double A side we released next. Right On's probably the most mellow's not the right. It's quite a joyful song. It's definitely the gentlest song on the record. A song that Jack wrote in its entirety himself. Actually, one of the few songs that wasn't written in that room together. He brought that in one day, and all of our eyes lit up. It's a wonderful song, and it makes you feel so happy. And it's great to play. We're playing with Amy Newton, the guitarist, doing Andy's parts at the minute, and she can sing beautifully. So she's doing all the backing vocals on the record too, which sounds fabulous. Wolfman's, knucklehead Sabbath rocker, if you like, that kind of thing. And then Best of Me has just got this groove. So that's what we've just dropped now. So we're playing the 4 songs that people will have heard, Mark, Mm-hmm. We don't want to, drag people too far sideways with the new songs. We want to play the old songs. And the only trouble is you do run out of time. I mean, I'm trying to make the set list, and even if you're doing an hour and 45, you have to start cutting songs because we've been around too long, man.
You have such an amazing voice, very distinctive, which must take a hammering every night on stage. So how do you look after it on tour?
Very unsocial, I am. Very antisocial. All the boys and girls on the bus, if I'm doing my own thing, I'll spend most of my day in my bunk. I'll go out and eat. I need to eat early. I need to eat at lunchtime, because if I eat anything within 5 hours of the show, that's no good for me. I'm a physical performer. I sing. I don't want anything heavy in my belly, and so I eat early and keep myself to myself. I don't go crazy. And, I spent years, getting hammered after shows and, throwing up the next day. And, I remember once I think we did a show in Sweden, and I remember throwing up just before I went on stage. I don't really get that. And maybe your listeners don't want to hear this, but
go ahead.
When you throw up the next day after drinking, or maybe throw up at the night you're out, or you throw up the next day, and then it gets later and you start throwing up at 11 or lunchtime, and it's fucking horrible, man. And I found myself, vomiting at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock when I was going on the stage, and I thought, you got to stop that, my son. So I don't drink now when I sing. Singing's more important to me, and I love a drink still, don't get me wrong. Still enjoy having a drink, but I don't mix it with the work, and I just try and concentrate, because singing gives me such pleasure, and I can see the pleasure it gives everyone else. And it's not very nice being on stage all sweaty and not been, your instrument not working. And I am my instrument, I guess.
If you were to recommend one of your albums, apart from the new one, if you were to recommend one of your albums to someone who had never heard Reef before, what album would you choose to start with?
Well, let's go for Together. So that's the album I mentioned earlier that has got, 5 brand new standalone tracks, and then the 9 top 40 hits. So that's probably quite a good introduction to Reef. The single from that was Give Me Your Love, which I'm still really proud of. It's got Stone for Your Love on there. That B-side of Say What You Want. There's Mickey Newbury song we do, the Kenny Rogers cover, just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. We do a great version of that, which is really good fun. Was recorded with George Coolius. Yeah, it's there's a song on there called Lucky Number. So you rockers, like the sound of that with big sort of Guns N' Roses guitar solo in it. It's got a good vibe on there, and then the 9 top 40 hits thrown in as well. So that'd probably be a good place to start.
Looking back on your time in Reef, going back to the start, what's been your highlights so far?
It's tricky to pull out singular highlights, so I'll just go with I'll probably change this answer every time, but I've mentioned going over to Sweden and doing a show. Now you said about TFI. I remember we did a song on TFI. I don't know maybe it was Consideration, one of the singles on Glow. We performed on TFI, and we were on TFI quite a lot. We went on, 4 or 5 times, 3 or 4 times probably, and it was a blast. I remember we performed on there early doors, and then we got thrown into a car, and we were driven to North Holt Airport, where we got into a private jet and flew, I think, to Denmark to do a club show. And out the window of this private jet, after just doing a hugely successful TV show in England, was Halley's Comet. So that was a bit of a highlight. That night was pretty special. That stuck in my mind. And, with you saying about TFI and me saying about throwing up in Sweden, that kind of brought that story into my mind. But Glastonbury Festival, it was a huge festival that I grew up listening to when I was young. And I could hear it across the levels. So, headlining the other stage there, playing on the main stage there was really good fun. Going all over the world, working with George Rakoulias, some of the people you meet. I mean, I had a piss next to James Brown once. That was pretty exciting. And Daft all at once. And going to Japan. I mean, you like the Beatles in Japan. Every band that goes, you get followed, and it's lots of girls and boys screaming at you, and I guess, visiting America, just a lifetime and a lifestyle of fun and music,
I like to ask my guests the following questions. Out of all the albums in your collection, who do you have the most records by?
I reckon AC/DC.
Which song?
I mean, sorry, I'm butting in you, sorry.
Go ahead.
Look at Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. What an album. I remember as a kid, and High Voltage was my first record, for sure. But I had Dirty Deeds I had High Voltage on a tape cassette. I had Dirty Deeds on vinyl. And that cover where you pull the sleeve out and you've got the band in their cut-off T-shirts and tattoos, and their eyes are all blacked out, like they're wanted, and they're drinking and smoking, and they've done a show. If the lyric to Rock and Roll Singer didn't want to make you join a band, then sure as hell the pictures on Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap would.
Which song or album is your guilty pleasure?
I often get asked about guilty pleasures, and I always say the same thing, Mark, so I'll say it to you too. I don't feel any guilt about liking any type of music. All of the guilt around music is totally manufactured by people with their heads up their own asses. So I don't feel any guilt of enjoy. I mean, take, for example, what was the name of the Britney Spears song? Hit Me Baby One More Time. Huge pop hit, right?
Yeah, great song.
Now, it's a great song. It's a good song. It might not be the sort of song that you would want to play all the time, but you can tell. We talked about the way Place Your Hands, is a big hit. That song is well written. You just know it's well written, and you know that if you played it on an acoustic or as a rock band, it's still going to be a fucking killer song. So that there's no guilt in any of the music. And look at what was the Cher song? The Life After Love. Yeah. Now that you had a girl on the internet recently doing an acoustic version of that, and it just shows you how. The whole vocoder thing might not be up your alley, but the good song can be played anyway. And, look how big the power ballads are with all the kids now. They love all the 80s power ballads, all the stuff that lots of people would say was cheesy. A good song is a good song, and, fuck what anyone thinks.
100%. What have you been listening to recently that you can recommend?
Oh, well, I've definitely been through an Uncle Acid, dark, dirgy rock phase. There's a band down in Broughton called Stella Fox, which are fun. Bunch of young kids down in Devon, Somerset, who make a good racket. So bits and bobs. But I mean, I probably listen to my own music more than anything because I'm always involved in it. I'm always trying to make something new, or get as good as I can be at what I'm doing. But Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats I've really been enjoying over the last few years, getting into their music.
Must check them out.
Check out Mindcrawler. That's a good intro.
Yeah, that's why I ask people to talk to you, just because I've been introduced to lots of good music, from asking that question. So,
yeah, George sent over an old song a while ago, suggested that we cover it. A song called "Evil" by Cactus. That's a good one as well.
We'll check that out. Gary, that's my questions finished. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Mark, I've really enjoyed it too, my friends, and I hope your listeners enjoy listening to us gas on, and hopefully they go out and get the record too, because I don't think they'd regret it.
No, I don't either. I wish you all the best. It is a great album. It's just, again, it's a complete assault of the senses. Just stick it on loud. Absolutely fantastic.
Cheers, Mark. All the best.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.